All right.
Hey, Chris, sorry about that. So I'm on I am on an alternate Zoom account right now because we had an employee that we terminated who then sabotaged us by removing our access to our Google accounts. So I've lost access to my Zoom account, and it's okay. It's all gonna get taken care of. I'm gonna sue the living shit out of that person, and I'll get control of this next week. But anyway, I apologize for the inconvenience.
Yeah, no worries.
Yeah, the 1.2, 1.3 mil, this will get you through the fall. And so that's, I mean, Chris, at this point, the more we can subcontract and take time away from you of you having a tool belt being on the job site, the more time we'll have to build the systems to go acquire more jobs like this deliberately.
Yeah. Yeah. And like, so that architect, there's an architect that I'm going to be working with that sent me some plans, and we ended up talking, and the numbers that he was getting for this addition was 300 to 400,000, and some of them were over 400, and customers not really comfortable spending that right now. The 400 mark, it was closer to 300. I did some rough numbers. I told them, I wouldn't be, I'd be in the low fours. But like I was even telling them before we even got to the numbers, is that I wouldn't want to start another project until, late summer. Like if I had all my systems in place and everything, I feel like, a midsummer, kind of rotate the rough crews right back into, their projects, kind of always keeping the cycle going makes sense. But at this point, if let's say I run into trouble with the finish crews and I have to step in, if I have five of these things going and I could only, do so much on my own, it would definitely turn into a shit show.
That brings up a really good point. So yeah, inside CQC, we restrict the number of active projects for a project manager. This is somebody just like you who is a master carpenter, multi-trade knowledge, running the projects. He wears a tool belt, but he's not supposed to do something unless something goes wrong. That guy's limited to 7 active job sites.
Okay.
But the thing is, he's fully dedicated to only managing jobs. You have additional duties. You got to run, eight accounts payable, accounts receivable. You got to pay the subs. You got to do sales calls. You have to manage the design process. So in your shoes, I would not be comfortable managing more than 2, maybe 3 active jobs at any given time.
Yeah. Yeah, and that's
Yeah.
kind of where I was looking at that schedule for the three that I got, that I got.
Yeah.
The three doesn't necessarily seem like it would be that bad, except for basically once we got to the finished stages. You know,
Chris,
so,
go conservative. Just do 2 at a time. These are $300,000. So having $600,000 in build, you'll be able to get through $10,000 per project per week. So in other words, you're yeah. The more I think about it, just do 2. And the reason why is if you can hit a production schedule of $10,000 of scope per week per project through your subs, essentially what we're doing is we're putting $2K into your owner's profit bank account per week on top of the salary that you're going to pay yourself for managing the job. So you're going to come out ahead as if you were self-performing, and we're on track to do a little over just shy of $100,000 of owner's profit in the year, which is kind of underperforming for the business plan. but I would rather take it slow, be conservative in your first rodeo off the tools than to go buck wild.
Yeah, exactly. And I think this will be kind of the working the kinks out,
Mhm.
and I'll still be able to turn a profit, be able to
Yep.
And the next round I'll know which costs I wasn't capturing as well as I would want. What what are the time constraints that I'm actually going to be on some of the, it's so easy to look at and be like, oh, the concrete crew is going to be going, so I stop there, point finger, yep, there's the hole,
Yep.
and then okay, I'll show up when the framers are there, yep, there's the concrete, all you got to do is frame, it seems, but I know in the reality that there's a lot more time involved.
There is. Fortunately, I've already taken all these shots in the nuts for you. Inside the project management SOP, you'll see this all broken out really neatly of the critical points that you must be there. And essentially at the beginning of each trade, at the end of each trade, every Friday you want to do a homeowner walkthrough. Now, whether they show up or not is on the homeowner. You want to be there. Some homeowners just they don't care. They just want a turnkey project. Others want to play pretend HGTV GC. Either way,
Yeah.
every Friday you're there inspecting. You're there at the beginning of each trade. At the end of each trade, you're delivering paychecks Friday mornings to your job sites. And you're at the beginning. They're at beginning of punch list, end of punch list. Use the checklist in that SOP. That is not based off of theory. That's based off of me getting killed.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah. So I think I'm gonna have to talk with so it's kind of hard because those two A-frames are kind of, even though they're two, they're right on same site, and I'd like to pretty much have almost be one project in a sense,
Why not? Why not?
So it'll be like kind of three going on, but I think I want to space the start of the third a little bit farther out.
Don't can I just, like, it's your company, do what you want. I suggest not starting the third until you are installing finishes on projects 1 and 2.
Yeah. Okay.
Because you're going to need your rough guys to make modifications that will inevitably come up.
Yeah.
Yep.
All right. Yeah. I'll see how I could play that with the schedule, and yeah. Yeah, and see how, because that's kind of where, let me wake up my computer here. Yeah, so I was looking at basically starting the framing on the third one once I have it scheduled about when insulation is going on.
Yep.
Insulation and drywall for the first one. So
Yep.
then by the time they're done framing, that one's ready for, the first one's ready for finish, and the second one is getting is just about insulation and everything.
Yep.
So by the time the first one's done with finish work, the second one's ready for finish work, and the third one is getting to just getting all the rough trades done.
That's right.
So and I might have to add another week or two in here just to buy a little bit more margin for weather and stuff.
That's right.
Because I got that first A-frame, start March 13th and finish end of July. And I feel like that bought some margin, just because it is a pretty simple, even though it's 1,600 square feet, it's a pretty simple project in the sake of siding is like barely any, it's just roof,
Yeah,
when it comes to
come on,
work, it's pretty.
simple.
Yeah, yeah. And then the second A-frame's an 800 square foot A-frame. So
Okay,
that's a simple one. It's the third one that, we're tearing a quarter of the house off and putting in spancrete and everything, for the garage, and then adding a second addition, second story.
that's pretty
That's the one
complex.
that's the complex one. So I don't want to be balls deep into trying to finish the finish, and of the other ones, and then having to be there at the other job site every other day trying to put out fires.
That's right. That's right.
So
That is
so
right.
so I'm meeting with the so this winter I want to have, for the three A-frames, I'm meeting with the survey, because I got the survey done. Meeting with the surveyor and the customer to kind of look at where we're putting the three A-frames, where they're going to fit. And then meeting with the customer to basically mark out what trees and stuff could get cut down over winter to
Yep.
prep for spring,
Job site
and
prep.
and getting that kind of figured out. And then I'm meeting on the December 5th with the architect for that third one, kind of the house rebuild with the garage, to meet with the customer. Architect's going to measure everything out, get the as built, and then kind of go over what are some of the customer's wants and needs, and kind of get that ball rolling.
Yep.
So then what I'm going to work on is getting on that Upwork website, and for getting the data research, get that ball rolling, so that by the time I'm ready to start sending some plans and stuff with my offers for the subs, I have a good list together.
Yep. Yep. And don't be afraid. In at the end of phase 3 of design, don't be afraid to send scope and pricing to a sub you've never met.
Okay.
It's just, rather than sending this email, all you're doing is saying, hey, I got this project. Here's the scope. Here's the takeoff. Yeah. Here's what we want to pay. This is how you earn it. Here's the production rate we used for you to earn a 10% owner's profit, whatever. You want to do it? And if they say, yeah, I'd be like, okay, come on in. Let me get your insurance. Let me see your last 3 projects. Make sure you're squared away, and I'll award you the scope.
Yeah.
Simple.
Yep. Makes
really
sense.
Easy. Yep.
Yeah. Yeah. So I think the interesting part is just going to be transitioning the amount of time that I'm spending on this prep for next year while doing my current projects. Luckily, my next project is a basement remodel, and those are bread and butter for me. Like I could work 8 to 2 on those, and get them done in a timely fashion. So that works out pretty good.
Right on.
It's like right now I'm doing a deck. We got snow flying, and I was dealing with zoning issues all summer long. And so I pull out a bay window and put in a patio door and window, and fix siding and everything, and then build a 14 by 23 deck with the undercladding, water, deckscape and all that stuff. And I'm doing it in the snow, and I'm like, and my wife's like, why don't you just wait till next week? It's going to be in the 40s. And I'm like, well, because I got to get this done so I can start this basement, because I got my daughter's coming is going to be born in the end of the year, or early January. Thank you. But so I want to get this basement to the point where drywallers could come in, because the last thing I want is for her to be, saying, hey, we're going in. I'm like 3 days away from getting rough inspection.
Ooh,
and then because then it's sitting, and then I come back to work, and then it's sitting again while the drywall, I'm not making money or doing anything while the drywallers are there.
Yes,
I'd rather have the drywall all done, and either A, drywall's getting done while I'm enjoying baby, or B, drywall's already done and it's at least a clean stopping point where the customer's not, the customer understands that's going to be coming. But so yeah, last week it was single digit real feel, windy on the lake, and I'm out here installing these expensive ass Westbury cable railings, and I'm like, this is exactly what I didn't want to happen. But
Absolutely not.
and then I got Todd, the A-frame guy. He's like, so could we meet out here? I was like, listen, give me, I'm waiting on the survey guy. This is like, let's prolong this a little bit here. I know you're itching, but I need to get this stuff done before I could, get rocking on that.
We need a survey.
Yeah. Yep. And he's not pushy, but he he asks questions, but then when I tell him like, hey, this is what's going on, he's like, okay, sounds good, thanks, sir.
No, Chris, you bring up a good point. Like with these homeowners, it's like when they're pushing, just give them the information. That's all. What for these homeowners that don't understand how to do what we do, just feed them the information. You don't have to teach them about technique or anything like that. Just feed them the information. They'll be satisfied. They'll go away until they have their next stupid question. They'll come back. It's part of the game. Yeah. And when we get into build, it's going to get even worse. And so that's why we're going to have our subs. We're going to train. I'm sorry, it'll fall on you until we hire your first project manager. But every day we're going to submit. Now, you're not ready for Builder Trend or Co-Construct or any of those other softwares. That's beside the point. We can achieve the same effect by creating a Google Drive folder for their project. And every day we create a new folder inside that folder where we list the before picture, the after picture, what we're doing today, why we're doing it, how we're doing it, and what the desired effect is. That and then we're also listing, are we on track or are we off track? And if we're off track, here's our plan to get back on track. And that specific report has eliminated the bullshit 3-bell fire alarm phone calls at 3 a.m.
Yeah, I could see that.
Right.
Yeah, I know that the Google Drive, setting up a Google Drive in general, like for just some of the communication, has already been a good, instead of emails, text, and pigeon carriers of trying to figure out.
Just go to the drive.
Yeah, I sent you that picture of the staircase I like. Okay, where'd you send it?
Yep.
Create
a folder just for them to add photos or to post questions. So inside that folder that has their name, put another folder that's like photos of stuff they like, and literally label it that stuff I like. And then no, I'm serious. And then another document, call that questions. And so they'll write a question, and then you'll go in and you'll fucking answer it.
Yeah. So I wrote for some like the design. So I have inspiration photos, to do's, and for the design, I kind of just broke down, like gave him some stuff to start looking at and pick at, rough color, first let's pick, siding, roof, exterior trim colors, so then he's itching at doing that, okay, give me some interior, floor cabinet, just some of the big items, so that he's feeling like he's, playing with the design, so that once we're ready to design, we already got an idea of what he's looking for, so that it's not, because so when I built my house, dealing with my wife, she likes to see everything built before she decides if she likes it. We did colors. We had about 50 paint samples all over the house, and she picked the color she liked. She hated it after it's all in, and like And so actually just a couple of weeks ago, we repainted the whole main area with like 15 feet, cathedral ceiling, all that stuff. And yeah, it was, we repainted it all pure white from Sherwin-Williams. And it's like, that's what we originally wanted to do, but she was nervous that it was going to be too blah. And well, and we love it now, but it's like when it was coming to picking everything, it was overwhelming, all the things. So I've kind of learned, especially with doing the basement remodels, like, you pick which items are the easiest to pick, and then you just kind of keep peeling layers away.
That's
you
right.
You don't go and say, hey, so what kind of doorknobs you want? We're not there,
Not until we're ready to install it. Yeah, no, it overwhelms them. Chris, that's such a huge point. I'm so glad we recorded this conversation, because like what most contractors do is they literally just say, hey, here's all the selection decisions you need to make. Go pick out what you want and tell me. Like, wrong answer. Wrong answer.
Yeah, because then at the end, well, for one, they're picking out expensive, stupid stuff.
Yep.
And two, they're picking out, knotty pine this, and then European style cabinets here, and nothing that mixes, and then at the end I spend all this time building this thing, and it looks like ass, so I don't take pictures. And so I always tell customers that every project is for my portfolio, so I'm going to help you make the prettiest for the buck.
That's right. That's right.
Stupid decisions. At the end of the day, you get the final say. So, but I'll try and lead you in the right direction.
Chris, you've nailed it. And for the guys that will listen to this, like this is really simple. Do not just tell them to make all their selections at once. Piece it out by trade. And then it's our job to do the homework to determine what's the budget for the next set of selections. So we tell the homeowner, hey, need you to pick out doorknobs. Here are my suggestions. This is the budget.
Yeah. I had a customer, I did some custom built-ins, and I specifically called out customer supplied door pulls, because she was already kind of talking about going back and forth, and she was working with an interior designer, and this, I was like, I'll get all the
worst.
And she picks out these like 250 a piece brass door pulls, and they're hideous. But if I would have said, hardware included or something like that, and then she sent me those, that would have been an uncomfortable conversation. I was like, yeah, no, I'm talking about the $5 a piece Amazon cabinet pulls here. I think we're not on the same page.
No.
And a lot of times customers too, they don't know what it's supposed to cost. So when they pick out something, they pick out a $15 a piece cabinet pull for their bathroom, for the guest bathroom. And I'm like, hey, we could get a 50 pack for $50 on Amazon for these things. You don't need, these high end, here. If you want them, you want them. But if this is an area you could save the money on and spend a little bit more on the kitchen, and the customers like getting their hands held for that, because they don't know. Same thing like Chris, flooring.
Chris, that's like the definition of value engineering, which is what those designers can't and won't do, that we know how to do. Like we know, where to spend the money, where to trim the money. The designers don't know that. The designer competes by their knowledge of exotic shit. Yeah. We compete by providing exactly what the customer wants within their budget.
Yeah. So that one I was telling you, I got the plans from the architect for that addition.
Mm-hmm.
Well, for one, they had no clue where they're doing the HVAC, how they're getting that, because they did the addition of basically a slab on grade with or slab on a frost protective footing.
Mm-hmm.
Well, like, well, where are you going to bring in the duct work? Because the rest of it just didn't make sense. But they had these high end windows with aluminum clad, and then oak interior and this and that, and kind of all these things that doesn't match the quality of the rest of the existing house, for one. And two, it's like, well, now the customer's saying that this project's out of budget. Well, if you were to plan this budget around, it's like, they don't know. When you give them three selections and they pick one, and one costs an extra $30,000. If you would have told that you could save, $30,000 by going with this one, it'd be like, oh yeah.
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 No,
that value engineer term has been the customers eat that shit up for sure.
They love it. Value engineering, baby. And Chris, you brought up another point. Like, I understand we got to do what we got to do when we're getting off the ground, but at this phase in your growth as a business owner, you don't work for architects anymore. You don't work for interior designers. They work for you. Like, you literally control the project from lead to final inspection. That way you can value engineer in design and during build.
Yep.
Yes,
yeah.
sir.
That was a good experience, getting the plans from him and then hearing that it was like,
hey, we got oak interiors, but we have no idea what we're doing with HVAC. Like, you're a fucking moron. We should take away your architect license.
He's like, yeah, well, we could just bring it up through one of the walls and into the hopefully in a 2x4 wall. And I'm like, you're not gonna be able to bring, because the wall is right on top of the foundation. So we're ready to with the a 2x12 or our rim board, plus the plus the insulation and stuff that was ready there. You're losing. There's just no way you're even going to have 3.5 inches by the time you get the HVAC turned up into there. Plus, you can't heat an entire, second addition to your house by running heat up 3.5-inch cavities.
Nope.
And they wanted to leave the existing kitchen, which is all on that wall. So there was no place to put it. So
not gonna work.
That budget doesn't make sense.
Nope. And those are things we think about as the builder that these pretty picture drawers don't understand.
Yep. Yeah. It was definitely an eye opener of why. Well, for one, why I found success by whenever I price out my basements remodels, like, I was like, hey, this is, you could find a good luxury vinyl plank floor for $2 to $3 a square foot. You could find them for $6 a square foot too. But for a basement remodel rec room, it doesn't make sense, and then when they want to, for the bathroom in the basement, oh yeah, we could do tile and this. I'm like, you're looking at another, $15,000 in this bathroom, for doing, or you throw a fiberglass, insert shower down there, and it's only going to be used, 5 times over the next 10 years. But let's not spend the money there. And it always makes sense. But if they were to say, okay, I want an estimate on these plans, and the plans are already spelt out with all the tile and this and that, now I give them $150,000 price point. They're like, oh, screw that. You're too high. No, your plans are too high.
You have over designed for your budget and the use case of the project.
Yep.
Yeah, exactly. So I mean, if there, I'm so glad we had this conversation. I'm going to pull just this part out because the guys need to understand, get to the customer before those idiot architect and designers do.
Yep.
That way we can be the voice of reason before we go into design.
Yeah. There's no point in putting together, because I even tell customers, like, the goal is not to show you something so gorgeous that you absolutely love it, and then when I tell you can't afford it, and now everything else I show you isn't exciting.
You don't want it.
The goal is to show what basically what you could afford, the best bang for that.
Best bang for the buck, baby. Value.
Yep.
Value engineered.
Love it.
Love it, dude. Okay, so basically, I guess where you're at is you're at phase 2 in design because homie came to you with as-built. I recommend you use a service like Clear Estimates just to get him like an 80% accurate number. Tell him that the labor isn't going to change and he still has to select his finishes. Get him to approve that, go into finish selection. And then after finish selection, we'll have him sign a build contract based off of our known top of market pricing. And then from there, we'll go to your sub database to start locking in trade agreements with the subs at prices below top of market so you can make an extra profit slice.
Perfect.
Right on, dude. I appreciate you spending 80 minutes with me.
Yeah. Definitely appreciate it. Like I said, like I got the ball rolling with a couple of these projects, and the framework with the design agreement has been great. The customers understand and value it, versus just having a bunch of people throwing random numbers at them. When I explain how we design engineer it, they love that. So then the next step was just, figuring out, dialing in, how do I get to these solid numbers for the customer, and kind of what we discussed definitely kind of gave framework for what my next steps are.
Love it, dude. And remember, anything that you intend to self-perform, just as a mental framework, pretend that you're a subcontractor.
Yep.
And eventually you'll get so sick of making subcontractor money that you'll be like, Lane, this isn't worth my time. I'm like, great, now you're off the tools.
Wait, I'll get.
Yes, sir. Well, dude, go take care of that family. Let me know how this goes. I'm super excited to hear what the next step is.
Perfect. Will do. Thank you very much.
All right, pal. Be good.
Awesome.